Hi, I'm Karan Thapar. Over the last few years, I hope you've been watching my program, The Interview on the Wire. During that period, I've interviewed doctors, politicians, businessmen, scientists, authors, and even the occasional Nobel laureate. For me, it's been exciting. I hope it's been enjoyable for you. But these, as you know, are tough times, and if this program is going to remain bold, independent, and sometimes even defiant, then I think we need your support. At the end of the day, it's a truism, but editorial independence is best defended by the viewers. So if you would like this program to remain the way it is, forthright, outspoken, and interesting, then would you consider supporting us? All you have to do is to click on the description at the bottom. But more than anything else, I hope you will continue to watch the interview. Your viewership means an awful lot to me. Hello and welcome to a special interview for The Wire. My guest today has interesting things to say about two major developments that took place in Delhi yesterday. First, the late-night dramatic arrest of the Chief Minister, Arvind Kejriwal, and then earlier in the day, the severe strictures and criticism of the Tamil Nadu Governor R and Ravi passed by the Supreme Court of India. Joining me to talk about both is the former Lieutenant Governor of Delhi and the former Vice Chancellor of Jamia Millia Islamia, Najib Jung. Mr. Jung, let's start with Arvind Kejriwal. I'll come to R and Ravi after that. You were Arvind Kejriwal's first governor. So let me ask you a simple question to start with. How do you respond to his arrest late last night?
Well, Karan, actually, if we go back for the last 2, 3, 4 weeks, this was very anticipated. I was personally very astonished that the ED had been delaying so much because Mr. Kejriwal was avoiding the summons. And I'm clear in my mind that any person, however high position he may have, it cannot avoid summons by an investigating agency. So this was really inevitable. I am not here commenting on the charges at all.
In other words, you're saying he got 9 summonses, he ignored all 9, he refused to go, and you're surprised he wasn't arrested earlier?
Yes, because I think that either it is waiting for instructions or they are developing cold feet. I don't know. But if there is a clear evidence against anyone, be it the Chief Minister of Delhi, then action should have been taken. However, I also think that it was the arrest of Ms. Kavita, which really gave them the basic information, because I think that they want to confront her with him to tie up the loose ends, if any.
Let's come to that. Arvind Kejriwal has been arrested on reported charges of corruption and money laundering. And as you said, it's reported that K. Kavita has allegedly told the Enforcement Directorate that he received a bribe said to be of 100 crore. Does that sound like the Chief Minister you knew from 2014 until December 2016?
Personally, I think Arvind has always been a clean man in his personal life. I do not think that he was ever personally dishonest. But it's been what 8 years since I resigned, and therefore things may have changed. There may be political compulsions. I really don't know. But the man I knew was certainly not dishonest, not personally dishonest. He had many other aberrations in his personality, but this was not one of them.
Now, Atishi, who is effectively the Deputy Chief Minister, has said that Kejriwal will not resign and continue to function as Chief Minister even from Tihar jail. As a former Lieutenant Governor, how do you, first of all, respond to that? And secondly, can the Chief Minister of Delhi function from a jail?
I'm finding this a joke, and Atishi can't be serious. I mean, I don't know if this is even constitutionally possible, but practically speaking, it's absolutely impossible for any chief minister to function from jail. There are 100 files going to him. There are secretaries going to him. There are cabinet meetings to be held. And above all, there are citizens of Delhi that need to see their chief minister. So you can't have special arrangements in jail for XYZ. There is no precedent of this kind, I think, anywhere in the world. So if Mr. Kejriwal wants to be treated specially, he's creating a constitutional crisis. I don't know the game. Is he heading for, does he want president's rule? If he doesn't resign, does he want to be dismissed by the lieutenant governor? I don't know the game. But frankly speaking, it's not either constitutionally possible. I don't think it's legally possible. And I do not think it is practical at all.
In other words, you're saying that this claim that he will function from jail as chief minister is bravado. And you're also saying it runs the risk of president's rule being declared and Arvind Kejriwal being dismissed by the governor.
Yes, I think the statement is quite nonsensical. I think they are aware of the risks. And perhaps this is election time. They may be prepared to take the risk. The party comes out heroically. Arvind stays in jail. And they take all the advantages of him being a martyr.
Now, Mr. Jung, you had your own run-ins with Kejriwal during the period when you were Lieutenant Governor of Delhi and he was Chief Minister of the city. But those run-ins were over what I would call extension of authority, not corruption, not any form of illegality. So let me ask, what is your, or rather, what was your opinion of Arvind Kejriwal as Chief Minister during the period when he worked under you?
Arvind was Chief Minister twice in my period. The first being 49 days and the other being from 2015 to end of 2016 when I was there. It was a period when he was exercising unnecessary muscle. I think that he had much to learn. There was great excitement in his party and him, and they were refusing, and I use the word refusing, to abide by constitutional laws and the way the rules are to be followed. I had to tell him several times that what cannot be done cannot be done. But more than that, I think he was heading for trouble because of the way he treated his civil servants. The Home Secretary was abused. The Secretary GAD was locked out of his room. A lady Chief Secretary was called corrupt in a public meeting. And even the Danix officers of the Delhi Secretariat went on a one-day strike. I think that is pretty unprecedented in the country. So it was all excitement. It was all a sense of newfound power. It was, I think, a level of immaturity. But he seems to have outgrown that. And hopefully, of course, you said my run-ins were on constitutional matters. Yes, we had to form, as you remember, the Shumlu Committee, where 4,000 files were sent to Mr. Shumlu, the former CAG. And he found, I think my memory is not very good, I think he found some 400 odd, where he found that the constitution had not been followed. And that left us in a very piquant situation on how to remedy actions that had been taken, but actually the rules and constitution had not been followed.
But you're saying that in those early years, the first year and a half of his chief ministership, he was often immature. You use that word yourself.
Yes, he was extremely excitable, and he would have done with a level of maturity.
Now, if you had been Lieutenant Governor of Delhi today, would you have given permission for Kejriwal, a sitting chief minister, to be investigated and ultimately arrested for alleged corruption and money laundering? Or might you have thought twice or thrice before doing so?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know the level of charges, really. I don't know the extent of involvement. I don't even know if legally, if the enforcement director is expected to take permission from the lieutenant governor. But I do know that in the present circumstances this morning, I would have asked the chief secretary to go seek permission from the enforcement directorate and meet the chief minister and ask him to put in his papers.
You would have sent the chief secretary as a special emissary to meet the chief minister this morning in Tihar jail and ask him specifically to put in his papers? In other words, you would have sent a polite request saying, enough is enough, now you must resign.
Actually, it is the duty of the chief secretary to do it himself. There's no need for the lieutenant governor to be advising him. The chief secretary should be well aware of the rules. He should know. He is the secretary to the cabinet, and he should know that the cabinet cannot function from jail.
Okay. Are you concerned about the functioning and efficacy of the Delhi government whilst Arvind Kejriwal is in jail? And I'm talking about both situations. Either that implausible situation where he continues to function as chief minister from jail, or a situation where he resigns and someone replaces him. In either event, whilst Arvind Kejriwal is in jail, are you concerned about the functioning and efficacy of the Delhi government? And I ask because most people would say that he is both the government and the party in himself. How will either fare without him?
Yes, I think that the government would be very hard pressed to be effective. They are having seminal problems with the civil service, who, as it is, don't cooperate with them. And with Arvind missing from the, shall I say, the battlefield, the party would suffer, the governance would certainly suffer. I think it is extremely implausible that he will continue as chief minister. Atishi is a very bright girl. She is from St. Stephen's College. She is a Rhodes Scholar. She speaks the right language, but I don't think that the party cadres would really follow either her or Saurabh Bhardwaj, or for that matter, Mr. Bharti.
But you're also saying that with Arvind Kejriwal in jail for the foreseeable future, and we have no idea how long he'll stay there, you are beginning to see the Delhi administration under the AAP government slowly, steadily unraveling.
Yes, actually what would happen is that the lieutenant governor would play a much more important role, a much more active role, shall I say. Yes.
Finally, as a former lieutenant governor, are you able to assess what will be the impact of last night's dramatic arrest on Kejriwal's popularity in Delhi?
It's a very difficult question to really answer. Arvind is an exceptionally clever political animal. When he resigned after 49 days, there was 1 year of president's rule, but he came back with 67 seats. And he repeated that with 63 seats, 63 in the next 3-4 years. So my own assessment, if you were to ask me, is that it would be politically beneficial for him to stay in jail and fight the election from there. That gets him the sympathy. That makes him a martyr. To go to the Supreme Court or the High Court today and for the bail to be rejected, it doesn't seem so nice. If he stays in jail, if he comes out, by the way, this episode will be forgotten by the 25th of May, when Delhi goes to the polls. So the martyrdom, the heroism goes away. But if he stays in jail, then Arvind is capable of projecting a new Kejriwal, the Kejriwal that we had in India against corruption, a man with a Gandhian image, shall I say.
In other words, you're saying to get the full benefit of being jailed, to get the full benefit of the sympathy that would arouse in people, he needs to be in jail right till voting happens in Delhi, which is not till the 25th of May.
Yes, I think, well, if the Supreme Court anyway, or the High Court denies him bail, then he's in it for a long time.
And that can be of benefit to him politically, even if personally it might be extremely discomforting.
It will be beneficial, I think, in the immediate election. It will be extremely difficult for him to manage jail if he's there for 7, 8, 10 months. I don't think his health is very, very good. And jail can be extremely tough.
Let's at that point, Mr. Jung, come to the second subject I want to raise with you, the serious, if not some would say damning strictures and criticisms passed by the Supreme Court against the Governor of Tamil Nadu, R. Ravi, yesterday. Now, in strong language, the Chief Justice admonished Governor Ravi of Tamil Nadu, calling his behavior constitutionally illegal. The court said, and I'm quoting, "We are seriously concerned about the conduct of the Tamil Nadu governor and his behavior. He has no business to do this. We do not want to say it aloud in court. He is defying the Supreme Court of India. And this was not the first, it was the second such admonition that the Supreme Court has given Governor Ravi in just 4 months. So let me start by asking, as a former Lieutenant Governor, what is your view of Governor Ravi's behavior?
I think it's quite ridiculous. It is atrocious. If I were to go back to using an expression, it's like he thinks he's 007, that he can get away with anything. He has a license to behave as he wishes to. So he's been rightly admonished by the Supreme Court, and I hope, although I doubt, that he will now act strictly in accordance with the Constitution.
The sad part, Mr. Jung, is that Governor Ravi is not the only governor to be admonished by the Supreme Court in this way. Much the same has happened to Governor Arif Muhammad Khan of Kerala. So my question is, why are governors appointed by the BJP behaving like this? Is it at the direction of the government in Delhi, you suspect?
Look, I really can't and shouldn't comment on that. My experience has been different. I think that both in the case of Mr. Ravi and Mr. Khan, and perhaps some others, they tend to take hints as orders, or they are seeking perhaps other office, some higher office, and come in the good books of the party in power. This is what seems to be the most likely thing, what I see from both their behaviors.
You're saying something which is very sharply critical, that they are doing this because they believe this will furnish the way for them to acquire higher office after they stop being governor. It's their ambition that's driving them.
Yes, I think it's their ambition. I think it's political ambition. I think that they have forgotten that they have sworn to maintain the Constitution, and they are behaving more like politicians of a particular party.
Let's at this point talk a little about your own experience as Lieutenant Governor of Delhi. You were appointed to that post by the UPA. What sort of pressure did you come under, either from Dr. Manmohan Singh, who was Prime Minister, or from Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, who was Chairman of the UPA? Were you ever under pressure from either of these two people to act in a particular or specific way, to do something that your initial instinct told you would not be right? Whether it's corrupt or not is another matter, but would not be the right thing to do.
First, I met Dr. Manmohan Singh several times and sought his advice on matters. Once I went directly for help to him when officers of the Delhi administration were transferred out by the Home Ministry just close to the elections. And the Home Ministry wouldn't listen to my sane advice that I can't let officers go when elections are 3 weeks away. And he intervened and stayed those orders. Mrs. Gandhi never called me. I never met her. Yes, like I said, in formal functions, I met both of them. I had no interference from them. Let me add that any officer, any person in a position like a lieutenant governor or a district magistrate or a superintendent of police is bound to get telephone calls, both from the government people or from the opposition. And it's really up to you to do what you think is right. So I would say that I had a pretty, shall I say, non-interfering dealing under the UPA.
You said you sought help from Dr. Manmohan Singh to stay the posting of civil servants just before elections happened because you couldn't afford to lose them at that point of time. Did Dr. Manmohan Singh in turn ever seek, in quotations, your help? Did he ever ask you for something that perhaps was irregular, that perhaps would have been improper? Did he ever suggest you should do something that you might not have wanted to do?
No, he never did that. I have called on him subsequent to also his retirement. I consider him very saintly. I don't think it ever would cross his mind to call me and ask me to do anything illegal.
What about the late Mr. Ahmed Patel? He often acted on behalf of either Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, or even occasionally, I imagine, Dr. Manmohan Singh. Did he ever suggest things you should do? Did he ever attempt to guide and push and encourage you to do something?
Yes, Mr. Patel did call me. There's one particular case in which he called me repeatedly that pertains to that Karbala area in Jorbagh, where it was a conflict between a Shia group of Muslims and the gentleman who runs a nursery there, who ran a nursery there at that time and occupied that Karbala. And the one group of Muslims were personally attacking Mr. Patel that, you're not doing anything, you can get this nursery wala out, etc. He was very agitated. He used to call me, not once but several times, and tell me that, look, I mean, he seems to say that these guys are putting posters against me, what to do? And we could do little because there was a court case pending in the matter. But barring that, I have had no request from Mr. Patel.
On that particular story that you told me about the pressure he was putting on you or the phone calls he was making to you to help him out in a particular Karbala case, was he asking you to do something you should not have done?
No. He said, please solve this matter. This is a pain for me. This group is putting posters against me. Meri badnami ho rahi hai, etc. So that was his point.
In other words, he was asking for help, but he was not asking for anything that was irregular or improper.
No, he never asked for anything irregular.
What about the relationship you had for the last 2.5 years of your term, which was spent under the Modi government? From May 2014 till you resigned in December 2016, that's a period of 2.5 years. The government in Delhi was Narendra Modi's government. Did they ever bring unjust, unfair, improper pressure to act in a particular way?
I must say that I will underline never got any pressure from anyone in the Modi government. In fact, because there were constitutional issues that were often being raised because of the behavior of the chief minister, I would go to government to seek their help. I often went to the Attorney General to seek legal opinion. And because Mr. Arun Jaitley was a legal eagle, I would go to him to seek advice. I often went to the Home Minister, and I got very sage advice. So
the Home Minister being Rajnath Singh at the time.
Yes. But neither Mr. I mean, I can go to the extent of saying, and I don't know what happens now, that the police commissioner of Delhi was posted by me, and there was no pressure on who would be the police commissioner. The chief secretary was posted on the recommendations of the lieutenant governor. There was no pressure. So those, I think, were different times.
You're saying something important. Forgive me interrupting you. You're saying, if I understood correctly, that as lieutenant governor, you appointed and posted both the police commissioner and the chief secretary of Delhi, and there was no interference from the Modi government. Is that the correct understanding of what you said?
I'm saying exactly that.
In other words, they gave you a free hand to even appoint the police commissioner and the chief secretary.
That is right. A panel of competent officers or officers who are due is sent to the lieutenant governor. He makes a recommendation. It goes to the Home Ministry and it is approved. That was the system in the Congress time. That was also the system in the NDA time when I was there. Yeah.
And there were no improper requests from either the Home Minister of the time, Rajnath Singh, or the Prime Minister, Narendra Modi. There was no improper request at all.
Never.
Tell me, do you believe the strong strictures, and they are exceptionally strong strictures, passed by the Supreme Court against Governor Ravi will act as a deterrent, not just for him personally, but for all other governors? Or is that unlikely to be the case?
I don't think that this is going to be a deterrent. The problem is that lieutenant governors are politicians. Government will have to look at who becomes lieutenant governors, because if these are politicians that you don't want to give tickets to, or you owe them a favor and then you make them governors, then, you know, I mean, you have examples, I think, some governor resigning and wanting to contest elections. That's, if that is the case, then we are on very slippery ground vis-a-vis the role of the governor, vis-a-vis the role of the governor and the chief ministers.
Yes, well, that happened very recently, just 2 days ago, when the governor of Telangana, Tamil
Yes.
resigned and is now contesting as a BJP candidate in the elections that will be held
Yes.
in Tamil Nadu.
I'm saying exactly that I think is highly improper and it should be discouraged.
How much of the problem that we're discussing, the fact that some governors make improper requests, that some governors interfere, how much of the problem is because of the sort of people appointed governor?
That is the problem. That you are appointing people who you want, who you think will be convenient, and they belong to your party. So till the whole system reviews the system of appointing governors, this will not improve.
In other words, you're saying the wrong sort of people are appointed governors.
Well, it happened earlier too. I mean, there are examples in the UPA time when governors have not behaved adequately, where president's rule has been imposed when there was no need to, on governors' recommendations.
You're talking about Governor Bhutta Singh of Bihar.
He is one. There were others also. I can't remember them. But there was an excessive use of that particular article in the Constitution where you could dismiss governments, and that was unfair. So I think that coming to selection of governors and postings of governors and behavior of governors, that has to be reviewed completely afresh. And I don't see that happening, by the way.
In which case, let me end by asking, how do we ensure that governors abide by constitutional principles and morality and don't behave like political servants of the government in Delhi? As you said, and this is undoubtedly the truth, governors appointed by all political parties have misbehaved. Even governors appointed by the National Front and the United National Front have all misbehaved. How then do we ensure in future that governors abide by constitutional principles and morality?
Maybe, and I may be being harsh, but make an example of a few. Sack them. Sack a few that you have not been constitutional.
But who would sack them because they're doing the bidding of the government in Delhi?
Yes, that's the big one. That's the big one, that who would do that? And that's really up to the Prime Minister and his cabinet to decide that we want the governors completely upright and to act as per the Constitution.
In fact, that is the nub of the point. The Prime Minister in Delhi, whether it's a Dr. Manmohan Singh or whether it's a Narendra Modi, has to take responsibility for ensuring, first of all, that the right sort of person is chosen. If the wrong person is chosen, as often happens to be the case, it is clearly the Prime Minister to blame because he does it. And secondly, the Prime Minister also has to ensure that if the right person does the wrong thing, that person is sacked immediately.
You know, this goes back to 1959 Kerala dismissal. I mean, that was Jawaharlal Nehru. The governor was acting wrongly or incorrectly even since then. And that's the first example. And that sets the trend that you can get away with blue murder.
In other words, the fault lies with the appointing Prime Minister. They appoint the wrong sort and then they accept, tolerate, and even encourage the wrong behavior thereafter.
The fault, dear sir, lies in ourselves that we are underlings.
But it lies not in ourselves. I mean, it lies not in ourselves, although it's apt to quote Shakespeare and Julius Caesar if you want. Yes. But the fault lies in the Prime Minister, specifically with him or her.
Yeah, if it actually comes down to that, yes.
Mr. Jung, thank you very much for making time for me this morning to talk about both issues, which are at the top of not only people's thinking and the newspapers this morning, but clearly they are also the subject of discussion on social media. Thank you very much. Take care. Stay safe.
Thank you, Karan. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Karan Thapar. Over the last few years, I hope you've been watching my program, The Interview on the Wire. During that period, I've interviewed doctors, politicians, businessmen, scientists, authors, and even the occasional Nobel laureate. For me, it's been exciting. I hope it's been enjoyable for you. But these, as you know, are tough times, and if this program is going to remain bold, independent, and sometimes even defiant, then I think we need your support. At the end of the day, it's a truism, but editorial independence is best defended by the viewers. So if you would like this program to remain the way it is, forthright, outspoken, and interesting, then would you consider supporting us? All you have to do is to click on the description at the bottom. But more than anything else, I hope you will continue to watch the interview. Your viewership means an awful lot to me.